Today, we're going to delve into a review of Namecheap and determine whether their hosting services are worth considering or best avoided altogether. Now, let's start by examining the pricing, which is a significant aspect of any Namecheap review. If we opt for a 2-year purchase period right from the start, we can get their cheapest plan for around $1.50 per month. When we compare this to other providers like Bluehost, who only offer a year of hosting for the same price, or even Hostinger, which would cost you around $50 to $60 for a 2-year plan, it becomes evident that Namecheap truly lives up to its name as a cheap hosting provider. It's worth noting that even their cheapest plan includes a free domain name for a year. However, there's a catch. This only applies to specific domain extensions, so you won't get a .com or .net domain for free. To acquire these extensions, you'll need to purchase them separately. Nevertheless, Namecheap offers discounted prices for domains, so it's not too shabby. Now, here's something unique about Namecheap. Even with their cheapest plan, you get multiple free websites. This is quite generous, considering that most entry-level shared hosting plans typically provide space for just one website. When we factor in all of these features, Namecheap becomes an extremely affordable option for web hosting, especially if you're looking to experiment or work on personal projects. But what about Namecheap's offerings for e-commerce and business websites? For those, you'll want to consider their stellar business plan, which not only provides more powerful hardware but also offers unlimited resources for almost everything. However, it's worth mentioning that this business plan does come with a storage limitation of 50 gigabytes, whereas the previous plan had no such limitation. The rationale behind this is that while Stellar Plus provides unlimited space, it imposes a limit on the number of files you can upload, whereas the business plan has a higher file limit but restricts the storage space. This approach is tailored for e-commerce needs and could potentially be the most affordable web hosting option for businesses. If you're interested in exploring Namecheap's services further, you can find links in the description below. Using those links not only helps you secure the best deal with this already affordable provider, but also supports us in creating more detailed reviews and tutorials. So, thank you for considering them. Now, let's talk about Namecheap's usability. It's important to note that Namecheap is more of an old-school provider. They offer their own control panel in combination with cPanel, which makes sense. But compared to providers like Hostinger or Bluehost, it can feel a bit overwhelming and scattered. If you're a hosting newbie, be prepared for a slight learning curve. However, if you have prior experience, you'll find the familiarity of cPanel comforting, and managing it should be a breeze. Speaking of managing websites, installing and handling WordPress with Namecheap is done through cPanel and the Softaculous app installer. It gets the job done, but it may require more effort compared to other solutions. If we compare the steps needed to create a new WordPress site with Namecheap versus Bluehost, the difference for beginners becomes quite apparent. Don't get me wrong, Namecheap provides everything you need, but the process may not be the smoothest. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you decide to go with Namecheap, be prepared to invest a bit of time in learning the ropes. Let's shift our focus to performance, which is particularly crucial when dealing with affordable hosting. It's easy for providers to offer cheap hosting if they're running outdated servers and hardware from the early 2000s. So, how does Namecheap fare in this regard? Surprisingly, not as bad as one might expect. While it may not be perfect, especially when compared to providers like Hostinger that offer similar pricing but better performance, Namecheap still holds its own in the market. To put it into perspective, the average website loading speed is around 7 seconds, while Google recommends loading within 2.5 seconds for optimal results. Namecheap manages to achieve decent loading speeds overall. Now, let's talk about the Namecheap website builder. It's worth mentioning that while Namecheap does offer cheap hosting plans and a free website builder, the tool itself feels quite outdated and, well, not very useful. The templates provided are uninspiring and designed with an old-school web aesthetic in mind. However, despite its shortcomings, it does get the job done. That being said, when we compare it to more modern alternatives like the free WordPress Elementor plugin, the difference in design and user-friendliness becomes quite apparent. Ultimately, I wouldn't recommend choosing Namecheap solely for its website builder, as there are plenty of better free alternatives available. Now, let's address security. While Namecheap doesn't offer the most comprehensive security suite out there, they do cover the basics. Each plan includes free positive SSL, which is automatically installed for your website. They also provide DDoS protection and firewalls, making it a decent security package overall. Additionally, Namecheap offers domain privacy protection for free, claiming it to be a lifetime benefit. This means that instead of your personal details being publicly visible when registering a domain, Namecheap's details are displayed, helping to prevent spam and maintain your privacy. Lastly, Namecheap deserves credit for including automatic backups in their shared hosting plans, starting from the Stellar Plus plan. These backups can be a lifesaver in critical situations. To wrap up this Namecheap hosting review, is Namecheap a good option? Well, it certainly caters to users seeking affordable hosting on a tight budget. While it may not be the absolute best web hosting provider out there, it's a great choice for personal blogs or small projects. Keep in mind that it may not be the most beginner-friendly option and it may not offer the fastest performance. However, if you're willing to put in a bit of effort and get your hands a little dirty, Namecheap can be a reliable choice for your next web project. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this provider. Do you find Namecheap trustworthy? Let's discuss in the comments section below. As always, you can find the best discounts in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Our goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers before July. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.